And there sat an angel of the Lord under an oak tree in Ophrah, where Gideon threshed wheat in a winepress, hiding from the Midianites. He was an ordinary man trying to survive. Then the angel appeared to him and said, "The Lord is with you, mighty man of valor." Gideon looked around, confused. A mighty man. Him? He was the youngest in his family, from the smallest tribe. But heaven wasn't calling him what he was. Heaven was calling him what he could become. That night, Gideon stood beneath the starlit sky, the same man who had once hidden in fear. And yet, though he had seen the angel, though he had heard God's voice, doubt still lingered. He whispered into the silence, "If you will save Israel by my hand, as you have said, look, I will place a fleece of wool on the threshing floor. If there is dew only on the fleece and all the ground is dry, then I will know that you will save Israel by my hand." And in the morning, he rose early. The fleece was soaked with dew, dripping as he wrung a bowl full of water. But the ground around it was dry. Still, fear spoke louder than faith. And Gideon, trembling yet honest, spoke again. "Do not be angry with me, Lord. Let me make just one more request. Allow me one more test with the fleece. This time, make the fleece dry and the ground covered with dew." And that night, the Lord did so. The fleece was dry, and the ground all around was wet with dew. God had not shamed his uncertainty. He met it with mercy. For when God calls the ordinary, he does not demand perfection. He invites trust, one small step at a time. Morning broke over the hills of Israel. The night that had tested his faith was gone, and a new light rose upon Gideon. He sat beside the threshing floor where fear once lived, and for the first time, he did not hide. The fleece lay beside him, dry and still, but his heart was no longer uncertain. He looked toward the rising sun, whispering thanks to the God who had met him, not with anger, but with patience, not with rebuke, but with mercy. Surely, Gideon thought, the Lord is patient with those who doubt, and mighty through those who trust. And in that stillness, Gideon understood. Faith does not always begin with strength. Sometimes, it begins with a question, and even questions, when given to God, can become courage. The night was quiet, the air thick with the tension of what was to come. Gideon stood at the edge of the camp, looking down at the vast army of the Midianites, countless like locusts, their camels covering the valley like sand on the seashore. God had already shown his power through the signs of the fleece. Now, it was time for Gideon to trust completely. At first, Gideon had gathered 32,000 men to face the Midianites. But God said, "You have too many men. If you win with this number, Israel will boast, saying, 'My own strength has saved me.'" So, God told Gideon to send home everyone who was afraid. 22,000 men turned back that day, leaving only 10,000. But even that was too many for God. God gave Gideon a test. He told him to take the men down to the water to drink. Those who lapped the water with their tongues, like dogs, were set apart from those who knelt to drink. Only 300 men drank with their hands to their mouths. God said, "With the 300 men who lapped, I will save you." 300 against an army that filled a valley. That night, God told Gideon, "Go down against the camp, for I have given it into your hand. But if you are afraid, take your servant Purah and listen to what they are saying." Gideon crept down quietly and heard one soldier telling another about a dream. "I saw a loaf of barley bread rolling into the camp of Midian. It struck a tent with such force that the tent overturned and collapsed." His friend replied, "This can be nothing other than the sword of Gideon." God has given Midian into his hands. Gideon knelt down in worship. Faith replaced fear, and with renewed courage, he returned to the camp, shouting, "Get up! The Lord has given the Midianite camp into your hands." Each of the 300 men was given a trumpet, an empty jar, and a torch inside the jar. No swords, no armor, only faith. At Gideon's signal, in the dead of night, They broke the jars, raised their torches high, and blew their trumpets. They shouted, "The sword of the Lord and of Gideon." The Midianites ran in confusion, turning their swords against one another. Without lifting a sword, Gideon's army won the battle, because God fought for them. The morning sun rose over the desert, its golden light falling upon a quiet valley that once echoed with fear. Gideon stood among his 300, tired, dusty, yet victorious. Before them lay the empty tents of the Midianites. The battle already won, not by sword or strength, but by the hand of the Lord. A soft breeze stirred the sand, carrying the scent of victory, and the reminder that when God fights for you, even the smallest army can conquer the impossible. 5 lessons from Gideon's story. God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. Fear is not failure. Faith is moving forward despite it. Sometimes God reduces your numbers to increase your trust. Victory isn't in strength or numbers. It's in obedience. When God fights for you, even the impossible becomes possible.